Welcome to the Foolproof FSBO podcast. I'm Tim the FSBO guy, and this is the show that helps homeowners sell their homes without paying that $31,000 agent tax. Hey, every week I'm going to share real strategies, simple tools, and proven checklists that make selling your home yourself safe, fast, and profitable. So if you're ready to keep your equity and stay in control of your sale, you're in the right place. Let's go ahead and dive in. Most homeowners don't know this appraiser trick that determines your home's real value. The people who care about you the most, like your neighbor or your brother-in-law, or even that friend who just sold their place, they're about to give you the worst pricing advice imaginable.
I declare bankruptcy!
And it's not because they're trying to hurt you, but because they price homes like picking lottery numbers. It's pure hope mixed with whatever their cousin's house sold for in Denver last year. You see, banks figured out something crucial decades ago. Emotional pricing loses money. Mathematical pricing protects it. That's why they hire appraisers. They're the emotionless calculator type who don't care that you proposed in the kitchen or that your kids took their first steps in that hallway right there. They don't care about the sunset views you love or the memories soaked into every wall. Where you see a home, they see risk assessment on a 30-year bet. And that cold calculating approach they use, it's exactly what will save you from the slow financial bleed of an overpriced listing. The biggest myth killing home sales is that caring equals competence. Your neighbor loves you, but they have zero training in market valuation. They think their house is God's gift to real estate, just like you think yours is. It's like asking parents whose kid is smarter. Everyone picks their own, even though one's currently eating paste in college. The appraisers work for banks protecting 30-year loans. They use formulas refined over millions of transactions. There's no room for feelings. There's no room for opinions. It's just math. That emotional detachment, well, it's not cruel. It's what prevents fantasy pricing that leaves houses rotting on the market. Here's their secret weapon that nobody teaches sellers: value bracketing. Think of it like a military sniper zeroing a rifle. They fire one shot and it's high, then they adjust. They fire one shot and they dial in low, and pretty soon they bracket in the bullseye. Well, appraisers pull comps above your home's value and then below it, and they kind of triangulate the truth in the middle. Without both boundaries, you're guessing blind. So that comp at $600,000 shows your absolute ceiling. And that's what perfect conditions might bring. And the one at $400,000 shows your floor, the worst case rehab scenario. Your home's true value lives in between those two boundaries. Finding it requires methodical calculation, not hopeful guessing. Most sellers never even look for that lower boundary, which is exactly why they overprice. Every square footage number on your house is wrong except for one. Tax records show measurements from 1992 using exterior dimensions, probably from somebody who's never even been in your house. Zillow pulled whatever random source they could find. It could be a typo from 2003. And your old listing, the one that got you to buy this house, well, the agent probably included the garage because bigger sounds better on paper. But the only truth comes from ANSI standards that appraisers use today. You can have one house with 4 different numbers, and sometimes they're 300 square feet apart. At $250 per foot, that's like $75,000 in phantom value. Well, all this is kind of like what my Uncle Billy used to tell me. Don't Stop Believing is a great message, and it's also an awesome song, but it's not great when it comes to pricing. Now, for finding legitimate comps, we use the 1-2-3 rule. And this simple, easy to remember rule will kind of change everything about the way that you think about home values. So you're going to calculate all of the sales within 1 mile, within 20% of your square footage and lot size, sold within 3 months. Get it? 1, 2, 3. Now, why these exact parameters? Well, 1 mile captures your actual local market. Buyers rarely cross major roads, school districts, or psychological boundaries. 20% keeps you comparing similar homes. A 4,000 square foot McMansion doesn't really help you price your 1,500 square foot Craftsman. 3 months is the timeline we use to keep the data fresh. See, markets shift really fast, and last year's sales, they might as well be ancient history. So if you break any of these rules, you might as well be comparing your house to a spaceship.
That makes sense to me.
The precision matters because every violation introduces error that compounds into tens of thousands of dollars of mistaken value. Want to know what your pool is actually worth? Newsflash, it's not what you paid for it. It's what buyers will pay for it. So the way to calculate this is you find 2 nearly identical houses in your neighborhood, same size, same age, ideally on the same street if you're lucky. And what you do is to find these 2 houses where one has the feature you're interested in this case, a pool, and one does not. And the price gap between those two sales, adjusted for market movement, tells you exactly what buyers will value pools at. That $50,000 pool installation might only add $20,000 or $25,000 to your home's value. The market already voted with actual dollars. And you know that because your paired sales analysis shows you that the market already voted with actual dollars to determine how much that pool is worth. So this technique works great for any upgrades, kitchens, basements, garages. Real data always beats wishful thinking. Now, functional obsolescence sounds like a very fancy phrase, but it's pretty simple. It just means outdated features that bleed value no matter how well they're maintained. The galley kitchen from 1985, it's going to give you a hit. Or one bathroom for 4 bedrooms, that's another problem. Let's say you have a bedroom that you walk through to reach another bedroom. Problem. Popcorn ceilings, wood paneling. These aren't opinions, they're quantified impacts from millions of sales. The painful truth is that keeping something in perfect condition doesn't mean it's worth what modern buyers want. You could polish that avocado green bathroom until it shines, but it's still bleeding 5% off your value.
That escalated quickly.
Appraisers don't average comps like splitting a restaurant check. They assign weights to them. For example, they would give the most similar comp to your home 40% influence, and then the second best would get 30% influence, and the rest would split what's left. Why? Well, because that nearly identical house 2 doors down matters way more than the kind of similar one that's 6 blocks away. See, if you average them all equally, you'll price into no man's land. Too high for bargain hunters, too low for premium buyer. You kind of become the overlooked middle child of listings.
Marsha!
Wait by relevance or watch your house sit while worse homes sell all around you. Appraisers also talk about quality grades. Quality grades are basically assignments that run from Q1 through Q6. And misunderstanding yours can cost you a ton of time and money. Q1 is basically custom luxury with designer everything. Q2 has high-end finishes, but a standard layout. Q3 is your typical builder grade suburban home. Q4 means it's dated but functional. Q5, it needs work. And Q6, it's barely standing. So most homes are going to fall into the Q3 or Q4 standard. It's just normal construction, nothing fancy, but nothing falling apart. The problem hits when Q4 owners think they own Q2 houses. That delusion is going to cost you 15 to 20% in reality check price drops after 3 months of silence. You have to know your grade and take an honest assessment of the quality of your house, or the market is going to teach you a hard lesson. Days on market is a death clock ticking against your price. Week 1, you're fresh meat. Everyone's interested. Week 4, buyers wonder what is wrong. By week 8, they're convinced something is hidden. And week 12, well, you have become that house. You know, the one that everybody has seen forever that must have foundation issues or ghosts or maybe both because nobody's bought it yet. So it's important you price right from day one because chasing the market down screams desperation. And desperate sellers, well, they attract vultures offering 70 cents on the dollar. Start strong or bleed slow. Location adjustments swing value 20% without changing a single nail in the house. If you're on a busy street, minus 5% automatically. Cul-de-sac, maybe plus 3%. Waterfront, hey, that could be a 20% minimum. If the power lines are visible, that's a detraction. A corner lot, it depends who wants it. Some people love the extra land. Some people see it as extra maintenance headache. A golf course lot, again, that's another 8 to 12% bump. The structure stays identical, but the dirt underneath and the view around is going to determine a massive value swing. Your neighbor's identical floor plan might be worth $50,000 more just because they're on the quiet side of the street while you face the main road. Absorption rate tells you a key thing about pricing strategy. What you do is you count active listings like yours and divide by monthly sales. 5 months of inventory, well, that's a buyer's market. Price aggressive or become furniture. If it's a 1 month supply, well, now you're in a seller's market where you can push some boundaries. Most sellers are either oblivious to this math or they just ignore it, and they wonder why their perfect house is just sitting there. The market's telling you exactly how to price through absorption data. Listen to the numbers, not your gut feeling about what you need for your next house. 3 hours of actual comp analysis beats 3 months of desperate price reductions any day of the week. So go ahead and pull 10 real comps using the 1-2-3 rule, adjust for every difference, size at $250 per square foot or whatever is good for your local region. And, figure out your features using the paired sales analysis, figure out your quality grade, and if you have a location premium. Weight them properly based on relevance. Remember, the best comp gets a 40% weighting, second gets 30, and the rest share the remaining 30. Check for functional obsolescence, calculate market appreciation by comparing identical models sold months apart. Then you factor in your market's absorption rate to position strategically. Your neighbor probably means well, but their opinion about the value of your home is totally worthless when it comes down to it. The market doesn't care about your memories or your mortgage needs or what you think you deserve. It only cares about comparable sales analyzed through mathematical formulas refined over decades. Use the appraiser's approach, cold, calculated, and accurate, because while you're seeing the nursery that you lovingly painted, buyers are seeing monthly payments and market comparisons. And if your price doesn't match market reality, you'll be that seller talking about your home's potential 6 months down the road while everybody else has already moved on. Just like Blockbuster talking about their convenient locations when Netflix ate their lunch.
Oh, it's laughing now!
The market always wins. You can either work with its rules or become another cautionary tale of emotional pricing. Okay, now we bracketed value, we weighed the comps, and we adjusted for condition. And that's how we beat the market when it comes to pricing. But after all of this, many sellers still lose anyway. Why? Well, because they open Zillow and they see this shiny, completely fabricated number called a Zestimate, and they chase it pointlessly for about 90 days. And that delay alone can cost you months on the market and a 5-figure haircut, not only in lost carrying costs and opportunity costs, but also lost perceived value because you have a house that's just stale and sitting on the market. Now, if you want to avoid that same fate, and I suggest you do, I want you to click this video right here, because in there, I'm going to show you how to break the price psychology trap and show you where that Zestimate goes completely wrong. Thanks for listening to the Foolproof FSBO podcast. For free tools and step-by-step guides to sell your home with confidence, head on over to foolprooffsbo.com/podcast. That's foolprooffsbo.com/podcast. And we'll see you next week.